I want you to be rest assured that if you've tuned in into this episode, you are in for value. And why do I say so? Because I'm going to touch a topic that actually matters, and that is ideas that actually matter. Now, I'll begin with a famous quote from a gentleman called Oscar Wilde, and it says that an idea that is not dangerous is unworthy of being called an idea at all. This episode follows a big streak of me watching business and entrepreneurship movies, and most of this will rotate around one movie called The Founder. That is the story of McDonald. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about this, and I want to know, why do some ideas actually change the world and others do not? Why do some thoughts begin movements, business ideas, multi-billion enterprises, and others don't? They don't even get out of the thinking stage. Why does that happen? Today I want to talk about ideas that matter. How do we spot them? How do we nurture them? Most importantly, how do we execute? Because for an idea to become a movement, to become a business, to become something that changes the world, it has to be executed. So tune in today, and I believe this is going to be value served hot. I had this from someone's episodes, and I'll use it. It is going to be value served hot. This is So now, the first thing I'll dissect is what makes an idea truly matter. Because not every thought you have is groundbreaking, but some are groundbreaking. And what makes a groundbreaking idea? The first thing is that it has to solve a problem. We have had this from everywhere. A good idea has to solve a problem. Think of Uber, think of Airbnb, or even McDonald's that I watched. All these ideas solve a small problem, a simple problem, and that problem needs to be solved. It needs to be a problem that needs to be solved. Some problems don't need to be solved. Then a good idea that actually matters needs to inspire action. You see, for every revolution, for every change in a country, for anything, the whole thing comes from an idea. And the idea is maybe democracy, maybe fairness, maybe fight against corruption, anything. But for it to be a good one that actually matters, it should inspire action. People should start the movement. People should start following and seeing a way of moving ahead based on that idea that has been implanted in their heads. And the other thing is that some ideas, or most ideas, are timeless, or they are ahead of their time. For example, the big idea of AI. Whoever came up with the idea that we will have artificial intelligence do for us some things, do this and this and that. That whole thing was timeless. It was ahead of our time. And AI is still growing at a very fast pace. And we are seeing how timeless this idea is. And that's why it's an idea that actually matters in our society today. But there is a big block after you having an idea, and that's execution. Execution. For every visionary man, The second skill they have is execution. Now, I'll go back to the story of McDonald's. What I picked from that movie, The Founder. There was a gentleman who was a salesman. I think he was called Ray something, Ray Hawk, something like that. I'll just confirm maybe, or you will just confirm maybe. But this gentleman was a salesman, and he was selling machines that would mix, machines in the food industry. And he was selling one machine to another machine to another machine. Generally, he didn't have that consistent thing that had worked out for him in life. So as he was doing this, moving around, because he was a salesman, he came across the McDonald brothers in their restaurant. I think, is it in Texas? Probably. Not very sure. I've forgotten the minute details, but the idea is that this guy saw them and asked on how best, because it was a new thing. It was a new thing to him because he was from another part of the country. He asked them how was it easy for them to have speedy mechanisms, to have a way of doing the whole food thing a faster way. So they dissect the whole problem, and you get to see that systems were put up so that the speedy process, and I'll talk about speed in another episode, and systems, because that's a very, very good thing to talk about. But going back on this gentleman looked for the opportunity in this whole thing, and he said to these two gentlemen, I think it was the McDonald brothers, Mark and something. I'm forgetting the names. Wow, forgetting the minute details. This may become a very boring story, but the boys, the men, the brothers, first of all, they had already tried to franchise, because this guy's idea, the salesman's idea, was to franchise the thing and make more stores that would do the same thing in different places. So these guys, the idea was big, but they executed a small bit of it. And the beauty with the salesman is that he was looking for something that was going to spark for his life and make it for himself. So this gentleman, after giving them the idea, and then they took it on, he proved to them that it would actually work, and then began to execute. He signed an agreement with them, and then they started the work bit by bit, block by block. They were making the franchise grow bigger. However, the idea was bigger than just food. And that's where the bit of execution comes in. That this guy had the persistence to keep moving forward. He gave in his house as a mortgage. He gave in everything to make sure that he can execute that idea that he had to franchise, to make actually the Golden Arches, McDonald's Golden Arches, a symbol of America. And so it is on that I get to, how do we break the barrier of execution? I want to bring a reality to you that this world isn't short of ideas. It's actually short on executors, people who actually follow through. Because you see, execution shapes the idea, not the other way around. The idea is not you don't use an idea to execute. You execute the idea. I don't know if you get it, but that's what is supposed to be done. You're supposed to execute for an idea to actually come to life. And the only advice I can give, based on my knowledge or based on everything that I've seen, there are a lot of things you can do, but the best thing you can do is always get started. Test the idea, because you need to see, is this something that is actually groundbreaking, like the way I imagined? Is it something that will go on to the next step? Will go on to the next year, will go on to the third year, fourth year, and become a legacy? Test it. Start. Because that's the only thing you can do. I can't lie to you, look for money, or look for this, so that you execute, look for good friends around you. No. People actually support you when they see that you've done something, that there is some steps you've made. The greatest advice I've ever got from anyone was to make small steps each day. And this was from actually my brother. He told me, if you want to leave home, because I told him one time I wanted to leave home. He told me, so you're going to leave home and do what? I go, I buy furniture, I buy rent, do this. I pay for rent, do this and this and this. He told me, you never have the money to do all that at once, unless you hit a jackpot or something. Even though you're very good with business, you will not get all that money at once, because it was going to be like about 24 million or something and above. You can't have all that money just lying around. You can always have what to use it for. So he told me, make small steps. If you want to buy furniture, each month, say you're going to buy something towards the house that you're going to live. So it was the idea. And then the execution started coming. I had to buy one thing every month. The only problem I had with that execution was the income stream. The income streams became uncertain at some point, but we are yet to go back to the original plan. The same applies to this podcast, the whole idea. I always refer to my podcast. If people listen to my episodes, I always refer to my podcast as something, because it's a very big part of my life. It's something that shows me that there's something I can be very consistent on. There's something that I can try to build for myself. There's a voice to me. There's a plan that I'm trying to build. There's an idea that I'm executing. So this podcast, the idea rolled out after 2 years on sitting on it with no action. The only action I had was learning the whole thing around how a good podcast operates, what are the logistics around it, everything. So maybe that helped, but the biggest part and the most breaking thing was to start. And when I recorded episode 1, it was word on word from paper as reading. But now I've gotten used to speaking, and so most of it comes off my mind. I just have key pointers on a special side just to read and keep on the trail, because I realize I'm someone that actually goes so far away from what I was trying to say. So make steps each day towards that idea, because that's how you test it. That's how you spot it, that's how you nurture it, by making the steps. The other thing is to surround yourself with big thinkers. Now, going back to the Founder movie, this gentleman, after coming up with that idea and all that, he went and shared it with his wife. His wife a bit shunned it because she was not sure it would work out. But then over time it worked out and she was very supportive. So he started looking out for talent that were big thinkers, talent that were good executors. Then as the dream kept going, he met a guy of finance that actually showed him that he was not doing a food business, he was actually doing a real estate business. And that's why McDonald's is actually, it holds the biggest, it's a company that holds the biggest real estate space or commercial space. If you're ready to argue with me, you can argue with me, but I believe they do cover the biggest real estate space. Just surround yourself with big thinkers. They will always help with the execution, with the building and nurturing of your good idea. The last thing is to kill perfectionism. Now, I'm a perfectionist by nature, and some of the things that I do, or some of the things are delayed because I want the perfect time, or I want everything to first be perfect for me to do something. The reason as to why I've not done video partly is because I want the video to be done well. And I don't trust being a podcast guy with just a phone. I want to have high quality content because I speak high quality content. And I believe, it's high quality content. So that perfectionism, you have to kill it to ensure that you execute that dream. I've tried to kill the perfectionism. If you listen to some of my episodes, the sound sometimes is not well edited. That's mediocre work, but I feel I just need to have things moving. They don't need to really be perfect, but they need to be there, because that's how you execute an idea. So in summary, if you've not picked anything that I've said, but you want to take away something for today, what you can do is spot the idea, validate, that is by testing it. Test it on a small scale, don't test it on a very big scale. And then commit to executing everyday tasks on that idea. Otherwise, I think this was a great episode. I recommend that you go and watch the Founders movie, you watch Blackberry, you watch Burnout, you watch the Internship, you watch the very many good movies, very many good entrepreneurial movies. How have I forgotten Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs is a very good movie. You can watch that movie, The Social Network too. These movies will give you how does the big idea work and how do you execute it. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Keep it at Bezos Chibozi. Please share this episode with someone that needs it. Until next time, see you soon. See you next Monday.